Ladies and gentlemen, do I have the sound running there? You've seen it all. You've seen how it was done. And I think all your homes witnessed how these dedicated enumerators went door to door to try and enumerate South Africans. Can we give this film a round of applause? Thank you very much. I think we'll move now to the second part of our proceedings. Could we have the lights on and ask Mr. Tsotetsi, the chairperson of State Council, Deputy Chairperson of State Council, Professor Hilary Southall, and the head of the CSS, Dr. Mark Oken, to come to the stage. I don't have many words. My words are encapsulated in the choir. Mr. Choir Leader, Paul, could you welcome the guests? Quite a journey to cross from there to here. It's as long a journey as the one we went through in the census. Marinda, do I see you? Yes. If you could have the little folder for Dr. Oken. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sure that the exhilarating song that State SA so melodiously presented to us has succeeded in having every one of us settled in this auditorium. The song was a welcoming song. They said, feel at home, and I'm sure you are feeling at home. Dr. Oken, the host and head of State SA, it is with great pleasure that I have to recognize and acknowledge the presence of cabinet ministers that are here, MECs from provincial governments that are here in the audience. It is also an added pleasure to us at State SA to acknowledge the presence of the Directors General who have made it here with us, with all their relevant staff members. We are also pleased to recognize commissioners of different state organs who are here. It is a pleasure to have you here, ladies and gentlemen. We further acknowledge representatives of the various local governments. We also acknowledge the presence of representatives of the private sector, the NGO community, and organs of civil society. Your presence is recognized, acknowledged, and very much appreciated. Further, representatives of the press who are gathered here, a warm welcome to yourselves. You contributed enormously in getting the message on Census 96 far and near, and it is my fervent hope that you will continue to do so. Last but not least, I would like to welcome representatives of the international community. I believe that there are SADC members amongst us here, embassies, and UN agencies. More specifically, let me welcome members of State Sweden who were with us at the beginning of the preparatory phase of the census, and who came specifically from Sweden to be with us here today. Let's give them a warm welcome. The UNFPA and the UNSD, who have been with us through our tough moments and those moments of pleasure, as well as the Australian Bureau of Statistics, from whom we have learned so much. We lack words, and we can only say that it has been pleasurable to have you. On behalf of the staff of Stats SA, I welcome you all. Now I think I can make a few introductions. Ladies and gentlemen, Statistics South Africa is governed by an Act of Parliament that mandates that there be a Statistics Council. Mr. Joe Totezi is the chairperson of the Stats Council. There he is. And Dr. Hilary Southall is the deputy chairperson of the Stats Council. Members of the Stats Council are seated here in front of us, and I can recognize Professor Meff, Professor Simpkins, Professor Stoker, Du, and many other members that I cannot mention by name, but they are here and living in front of us here. I'm not sure whether it will be an embarrassing moment to say, could you stand up so that these people know what burden you are carrying? Please, members of council. As you can see, this is a body of men and women with specific professionals who hold specific professions in their own right. We also have representatives from provinces and representatives from civil society. These are the people who will make a statement on the statistics that we are about to release today. This council is a statutory body that advises the minister on all statistical matters, including the census. I would like to introduce Dr. Mark Ocken, indefatigable. There he is, Dr. Ocken. He is really indefatigable. Up until, I believe, 12 midnight, he was still working. And that's how we brought the census to a successful conclusion. There are also amongst us members of the advisory committee on the census that work tirelessly throughout, giving advice and contributing actively in the construction of methods for census taking. Ladies and gentlemen, it now gives me great pleasure, but before we do so, I think let the choir sing an additional item.
La
I wouldn't like to ask the dreaded question, how many of you were counted? That was for the post-enumeration survey to do. I am not going to ask that question. But I'm sure that song which says, somebody's calling my name, says all of your names have been called and recorded on our forms. I believe I'm talking for the majority of the people in the hall, if not everybody. Thank you, choir. We are running nicely ahead of schedule. I wish we would have run in the same way when we prepared the census in a more relaxed mood. I really believe that 2.5 years ago, or 3 years ago, to be exact, July 95, Dr. Organ got appointed to the Central Statistics Service, now Stats SA, and in quick succession, I joined him there around the same month, and then got appointed around November, was hauled from the Northwest, where I was working in the statistics office there. The amount of hair that we had on our heads was much, much bigger. We've lost quite a lot since. But we've gained a lot of experience since then. The colleagues at the Central Statistical Service who worked so tirelessly to get this census going share the same kind of boldness, men and women alike. It was really a tough task to go through. Ladies and gentlemen, it now gives me great pleasure to call upon Dr. Hilary Southall to read a message from Council on the statistics. Thank you.
In terms of the Statistics Act, the Interim Statistics Council shall advise the Minister in regard to investigations that should, in the opinion of the Council, be undertaken on any matter regarding the collection of statistics, including the taking of a census of the population. The Council, comprising a broad range of users and technical advisors, together with provincial representatives, issues the following statement concerning the results of Census 96. First, the Interim Statistics Council recommends to the Minister that the results of Census 96 be officially adopted and widely publicised. We commend Statistics South Africa for the thorough, committed and inventive manner in which it undertook the many phases and aspects of this enormous undertaking over the past 3 years. Notably, first, the systematic and uniform countrywide demarcation. Second, the extensive enumeration which attempted to include in the actual counting process all the residents of the country. Third, the detailed and rigorous post-enumeration survey in which the majority of post-enumeration survey results were matched by household and individual for the first time. And fourth, the transition to the production of results in electronic format. Third, the Council has been monitoring the conduct of the census from its early stages. We have received and considered a complete set of documents from Statistics South Africa about the conduct of the census through to the final results. We have also received the report from the Census Review Task Team, which we appointed to evaluate Census 96. Fourth, an earlier subcommittee of the Council reviewed the preliminary Census 96 estimates produced by Statistics South Africa, which was then the Central Statistical Service, in 1997. In recommending their release for publication, it noted that, and I'm quoting here from their report, further validation of the data can and will be carried out during the comprehensive phase of analysis. And then it continued, it is not easy to determine our demographic magnitudes within narrow ranges at present. The Council accepts the report by our review task team regarding the final Census 96 results as adjusted by the post-enumeration survey. We note the issues they raised, including disaggregation of the total count by population group, sex, and age, and the reliance on self-determination of foreign status. We endorse and recommend to the Minister the proposal by the task team that these issues be further investigated in a second phase of evaluation by a range of experts. The Council's intention is that the outcome improve practice in future censuses. Statistics South Africa used a post-enumeration survey adjustment for undercount, which was specifically designed for that purpose, rather than a modelling approach as was used in the 1991 census. The use of a post-enumeration survey for adjustment purposes has resulted in some variations from the estimates that might have resulted from a population model. We recommend to Statistics South Africa that a note regarding such variations be included with releases with Census 96 data. And eighth, and finally, we express our thanks to the Census Review Task Team and Statistics South Africa for the comprehensive information supplied to us and their participation in the review process. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hilary Southall. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the statement from the Statistics Council, a statutory body made up of distinguished people and eminent people in our country. Mr. Tsotezi, would you like to say a few words in regard to the statement? Mr. Tsotezi, thank you.
Good morning. Sanbonani. Dumela. Goeiemôre. Eta. Bola. Well, I could go on and on because we have 11 official languages and I've already included the 12th one, which is unofficial. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, may I say that it is indeed an honor to be standing here in front of you on such a great and memorable day. This day will go down in history as the day on which the results of the first census of the new democratic dispensation were announced. This day will go down in history as the day on which the dignity of all South Africans was fully restored through the recognition of Count Me In. I recall in 1996 when Mr. Census himself, namely Mr. Paril Hosla, roared in 11 official languages. And he said, count us in. I still have a vivid memory of that. Indeed, this is the day on which we are now reaping the fruits of the labor of Count Us In campaign that was led by that capable man. May I indeed take this opportunity to convey my sincerest gratitude to all men and women who gave it their all to make this possible. We call them enumerators. May I congratulate Mr. Census himself, Dr. McAuken and his team on such a great feat on this memorable day. The last but not least, may I thank my brilliant and diligent colleagues, the members of the States Council. I had written a speech yesterday for this day. I had just come back from an overseas trip. But this morning I realized that, as some people are saying, this is a matter of life or death. I said it's much more than that. Members of the States Council, may I say words cannot fully describe how proud I am to have led such a great team. May I applaud the review task team for a sterling job on which they have delivered. May I indeed conclude by saying there are three types of people. Those who wait for things to happen, those who make things happen, and those who wonder after the whole thing has happened as to what has happened. Men and women who have distinguished themselves by delivering on this great results have made it possible, and indeed belong to the group that do make things happen. May I therefore applaud them sincerely on having delivered on those results. Ladies and gentlemen, may I sincerely call upon you to stand up and applaud the enumerators, because through blood, sweat, and tears, they hung in there. And indeed, today is their day, because they have indeed delivered. May I ask you to applaud them? In conclusion, may I emphasize that the Interim States Council recommends to the Minister that the results of the Census 96 be officially adopted and widely distributed. May I emphasize the importance of Census 96 by saying accurate statistics as a result of Census 96 are indeed a significant portion of proper planning. And indeed, proper planning